Hello, everybody, and welcome back to TarHeelIllustrated.com. Or, of course, if you are watching on our fast-growing YouTube channel, even during the off-season, still growing, which, like I always have been saying, pretty cool to see. I'm THI staff writer Jacob Turner, and joining me for this one, as he always does, our very own publisher, Andrew Jones. And AJ, here for another episode of our UNC football off-season ISO series podcast, going to be focusing on UNC defensive back Cameron Kelly in this episode. Looking forward to diving into him a little bit. Before we talk about him, though, I want to give a quick shout out to us, TarHeelIllustrated.com. Guys, come sign up for just $8.33 a month. Link is in the description below. Something we really take pride in, something AJ really takes pride in as well, with all the fluctuation in pricing across the country and whatever it may be, gas, food, whatever it is. Prices have just skyrocketed over the past couple of years. We haven't changed our prices at $8.33 a month since AJ took over the site in August 2014. Not many places can say that. Like I said, it's something we really take pride in, and we're still pumping out a ton of content during the off season. The grind doesn't stop over here at TarHeelIllustrated.com. So if you want to become an insider too, I see AJ shaking his head over there because he knows it. I don't think he's had an off season since August 2014. Have you, AJ?
Yeah.
Not very many days off.
I've taken 23 days off in almost 8 years.
So if anybody had an easy excuse to just jack the prices up on you, it was AJ, but he's chosen not to do that. And that speaks to the kind of guy, is the kind of publisher he is. So guys, come sign up, $8.33 a month. You get a ton of content, 365 days a year. If you like the free content we do on the YouTube side, being a subscriber at TarHeelIllustrated.com directly affects the content we can do over here. You're supporting us, the YouTube channel, and the website by doing that. It all goes hand in hand. So come sign up for just $8.33 a month. Link is in the description below.
And there's a lot more intel on the site.
Yeah.
The podcasts are just snapshots of the volume of intel that we offer. So especially on the recruiting front. I mean, David Sisk's dropping all kinds of stuff on the board. Dina's dropping all kinds of stuff on the board. We don't do a ton of recruiting pods, in part for that reason. Also because I already worked them hard enough for what they get paid. So I don't want to take 45 minutes out of David's night, a couple of nights a week when he's at home with his wife doing pods when he could be actually spending time with his family. Yeah. So, and plus we want to keep a lot of this stuff on the board. We want to make it unique and special for the subscribers.
Exactly. That's the perk you get of being a premium subscriber. You get access to a lot of information you just can't find, or you can't have access to unless you're signed up. So come join over there. And real quickly, I want to shout out the Rivals app, rivals.com app. Guys, go download it in the App Store. It's an app I've been using for probably over a year or two now. I should have blasted it earlier because I love it. But essentially, by downloading the app, you get direct access to the Tar Heel Illustrated page. So you have, your own custom page right there. You can sign up for notifications. I get notifications every time we put out an article, every time we put out a podcast, anytime anything gets posted on the website, including an update on our boards, major update there. You'll get a notification. You click the notification, and it takes you right over there. It couldn't get any easier. So if you want to stay a little bit more up to date with what we do, if you want to be able to kind of know when things go up and when things are happening, get the Rivals app, download it, sign in, and turn on notifications. Trust me, guys, you won't regret it. It just makes it a little bit easier to kind of see what we've got going on, especially with the volume of content we put out, on a daily basis. So check it out, rivals.com app. Just search it in the App Store, and you'll find it pretty quickly. All right, AJ, let's dive into Cameron Kelly. In this one, guy that's been around the program for a few years now, going into his senior season at North Carolina this year, played dealt with some injuries early on, but has played a lot of games in his time at North Carolina. So, AJ, when you look back at the career Cam Kelly's had, how much football he's played, even particularly last year, appeared in all 13 games and started 9. What kind of player do you expect Cam Kelly to be on this defensive side of the ball going into the new year and going on into a new defensive scheme and regime under Gene Chizik?
I will guarantee you that in any meetings he's had with coaches since the end of last season, the one word that consistently comes up is consistency. When you look at Cam Kelly's career, Jay Bateman talked about this pretty openly last season. He's a guy that would be phenomenal one game and not so much the next game. And actually, sometimes that would play out in series. One series, he'd be excellent. The next series, give up a touchdown. Case in point, he had 2 games last year where his PFF grade was in the 80s. He had 2 more where it was in the mid-70s. He also had 3 where it was 43 or lower. So he can do it. He could be a very effective player. There are times where he looks damn good, and he's got a lot of swagger to go with it. So he carries himself like a really successful big-time defensive back. Sometimes he plays like that. Sometimes he doesn't. He had 25 targets last year, allowed 14 receptions, which is not a bad number, especially for safety. It's a little tricky when you look at that stat for safeties, but 6 touchdowns were charged to him. So again, excuse me, that speaks to the inconsistency of how he played. He's a hitter. He's a tough kid. He had around 55, 60 tackles last season. He had 17 stops, according to PFF. A stop are plays that result in failures by the opposing offense. There's a big play knack to what he can do out there. I think he's a guy that can ignite a defense with the way he plays and how he reacts to when he makes good plays. I think that's part of the process as well. Tell Dre Bly it isn't, and you'll get an argument that it is. Yeah. So I think with Cam Kelly, we know there's a really good football player there. The question is, can he be consistent? If he is consistent, he'll be on the field and start all season this year. He'll play certainly 45, 50 snaps a game. They do have some talents. I can see them doing some moving guys around and rotating and stuff, but he needs to be consistent, because if he's not, they have enough talent back there where he could find himself not playing as much this season maybe as he did last season. So it all comes down to consistency for Cam Kelly, Jacob.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And you look at diving into his junior year last year a little bit more, all ACC third team, actually tied for the lead in the ACC with 4 interceptions, most interceptions on the year, and ranked third on Carolina's defense with 69 tackles. So you look at that snapshot last year, he had a pretty good season. I mean, when you look at Carolina's defensive struggles as a whole, looking at some of those personal accolades that you had, it's pretty solid for him. Now, I do agree with your consistency point, and that's the biggest thing. And I'm going to go back to the state game, a game that Carolina fans do not want to relive, but I was on the field for that one. But we've talked about it a little bit. You go look at those touchdowns that Carolina scored late. Cam Kelly was kind of directly involved in both of those in a negative way, either, missing an assignment or not, especially with the touchdown that Emezi caught. I was right there for that touchdown. It was kind of a 50-50 battle for it. And Emezi just outmuscled Cameron Kelly, was trying to coming over a little bit late to make a play on the ball. And I'll never forget Cam Kelly laying on the ground, just holding his helmet like this, knowing that, I just made a tough play again and was kind of at fault for that one. So that, to me, it hits on, and it shows the consistency issues that he's maybe had at times, because there's a really good player in there, all ACC third team for a reason. But if he can clean up some of those mistakes, be a little bit more consistent now, and that could happen naturally under a new regime, under Gene Chizik, with a more simplified scheme. Everybody had a little bit stronger understanding of what they're supposed to do on the defensive end, and that's obviously going to affect somebody like Cam Kelly playing that safety position. When you got a lot of guys doing the wrong things in front of you, makes your job a lot harder back there as well. So I do agree that consistency is something that he really needs to improve on, but I do think he has the potential, once again, under a new regime. I've said this with a lot of players on the defensive side of the ball. I think with his experience and how much football he's played at North Carolina, I think he's a guy you can really see his consistency starting to clean up this year under Gene Chizik.
Well, there's no shame in getting beaten out by Emeka Emezi on a play.
No, he's fantastic.
Emezi's a phenomenal player, big dude, big target. Mm-hmm. You say that the guy's doing stuff wrong in front of Kelly before. I just think that they were set up for disaster pre-snap a lot, and we saw it play out that way. I think the communication stuff, he's going to have to communicate back there, but if there's less to communicate, I'm a big believer on, that when the ball is snapped, the defense has to move the right way. If you either don't move or you move the wrong way on the snap, then you take yourself out of a play. And I think a lot of guys on defense did that. I don't know how much that was the case for Kelly. I didn't see it as much in the back of the defense. I saw it in the front seven. I saw it at linebacker a lot, and I saw it the linemen and the hybrid guys, that kind of thing. But really, Kelly made enough good plays last year. He was, that center fielder who can get that ball in the gap before it hits the ground and can rob guys he hits. He's sort of that kind of safety with the physicality to boot. It's just a matter of consistency. I think he could have been a really good player in the scheme last year if he was more consistent. So he showed he could make plays. He showed he could alter games at a significant level at times. And he also showed that, the other team is going to have a lot of success that day. So it's up to him. It's up to him to just take it up that next notch, be a more mature player, which is it goes hand in hand with consistency. And he's a smart guy. He's a hard worker. He's a kid that people say the right things about all the time. Mm-hmm. Probably gets down on himself a little bit when there are mistakes. Sometimes they can carry for a bit. I think Jay Bateman alluded to that a little bit. A couple things go wrong, and some guys just kind of let that linger in their mind for a while. The great players get rid of it quickly. And so he needs, if he makes a mistake, get rid of it and get on to the next play. Keep that moxie going. Make your moxie work as an advantage to you. And I think that there's a chance that he has a really good year.
Yeah.
I hope he gets more consistent because I think it's fun. One of the reasons I love doing this is seeing kids grow, develop, and improve. For him, it's about consistency. I'll say it 1,000 times and 1,000 times more. If he's consistent this year, I think he'll be consistent on the high end, and he could be a very, very good player.
Do you expect him to be a starter?
I think right now, I guess so. I mean, I'd have to sit there and comb over the whole
early
situation back
early
there. So I got to wait till I see them in fall camp. Mm-hmm. I don't see any reason going in why he won't. I guarantee you, he thinks he's going to be a starter.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would imagine, if he takes the field on their first defensive series against Florida A&M, nobody's going to be surprised. I would be more surprised if he's not on the field. Mm-hmm. So, but I don't think it really matters right now. He just needs to get consistent. He can't worry about anything other than consistency. Mm-hmm. And that happens with the OTAs in the summer. That happens with all that stuff because consistency is born then. It's not born when they take the field in August. It's born now. If he's consistent defending the guys and when they do the player-led practices right now, that's going to carry over. My guess is he hadn't been consistent in that stuff before, which is why he wasn't in the regular games.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I think it'll be interesting to see how that defense shakes out. When you look at an experienced guy like Cam Kelly going to do a senior year, just played a ton of football, started a ton of games for North Carolina. It's a good guy to have back there. Whether he's starting or not, I expect him to be playing a lot of snaps. So,
but if he is starting, that means that consistency, he's getting closer to being that guy. Yeah. And if that's the case, then that's a very good sign for Carolina.
Agreed. And I think consistency in a lot of ways could almost automatically improve, obviously with effort from him, but under the new regime and just more of a simplified defense could make it a little bit easier to be consistent out there on the field when you're set up a little, like you said, set up a little bit more for success and have a little bit more of a stronger understanding of what you're doing and not being asked to do something maybe you're not comfortable or used to doing. So I think that'll be a positive for everybody on the defensive side of the ball for the Tar Heels this season as well. Good place to wrap this one up, AJ. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones for the Cameron Kelly edition of our UNC Football ISO Series Offseason podcast. If you guys want to see the other ones we've done, just go to our YouTube channel, click the playlist tab, and you'll find ISO Series right there. Click on it. We'll have all the videos in there, even going back to last year's ISO Series videos as well. Again, guys, go download the Rivals app. Just search Rivals in the App Store. You'll find it. Log in, turn on your notifications, and trust me, you guys, you will not regret it. And click the link below. Sign up, $8.33 a month, TarHeelIllustrated.com, where you can be an insider too. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell as well, so you know every single time we upload, and we do upload a lot. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.
Thanks.